Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 2 of the V8 Supercar Online Premiere Series, presented by Get Dirty MX and Track Racer. Broadcasting tonight at V8's Online, I'm Leo Gray, and with me here at beautiful Watkins, Glen. Welcome back, Clayton Brooks. How are we doing, Brooksy?
Good, thanks, Leo. How are you, mate?
I'm doing very well, and I'm very much looking forward to round 2 of our new Premiere Series. We had a great event a couple of weeks back at Circuit of the Americas, and Watkins Glen being the amazing track that it is, I think that we're in for another excellent show.
Definitely, Leo. We've got top split covered by less than 1 second for a whole 40 cars, and from 41st down to 80th in this split. In the development split, I think it was only 7 temps covering those 40 cars, so we're in for a heck of some racing tonight.
Yeah, unbelievable to look at that. Of course, the new format here, the fastest 80 drivers preparing for a couple of days of qualifying. We'll make it into 2 races for tonight. We've got the main event, which is going to be 52 laps around the Watkins Glen Cup circuit. But to start things off, we're going to have the development series race, and the drivers are getting ready for that one as we speak. Not long now.
Now, probably about a minute till they start gridding up, so I'm really excited for this. This is one of the favourite tracks for most of the drivers, and really fast flowing, and going to see plenty of overtaking tonight.
It's pretty well given at Watkins Glen, especially when you've got 40 V8 supercars out there. So I guess you take this opportunity to run through the grid that will make up the development series event. 40 drivers, and on pole position we're going to have Tim Foltz. He set a lap time of 1:09.456 to get pole position. It was actually Chris Hogan who was the fastest of the dev races, but he's moved up into top split. We'll cover that later. So Tim Foltz on pole, followed by Nathan Leskinson, Jared Muggleton, Richard Hunter, Bruce DiCarlo, Matt Morris, Simon Madden, Sam Compton and Brad Smith.
Yeah, and your next 10 is Curtis Chipaway, Marty Atkins, Simon Black, 2 teammates starting alongside each other there. Heath Brennan, Matt Yeomans, Pateri Kodavara, Hayden Dudman, Jason Hardman, and Michael Barron.
After Michael Barron, we'll have Matthew Stratford, Scott Stevens, Mark Warmington, James Scanlon, Luke Emerton, Craig Jones, and Craig Baxter from 21st.
Yeah, and then you got, followed by them, is Shane Best, Trent Thomas, Sanjan Dalalik, Dale Nish, Paul Gorrell, Scott Party, Jay Kennedy, Graham Filan, Timothy Hancock, Nathan Britton, Andrew Gaines, Andrew Wallace, and because some guys aren't racing tonight, we've got Will Dodd, Brett Hender, and Michael Cracknell rounding out the field.
So we've got 34 drivers on the grid. Looks like a couple of drivers not making it in, pulling out for whatever reason. We're getting ready to go racing here at Watkins Glen. The lights are up. Revs are going to rise, and we're going to be set to go racing for 25 laps. And away they go.
Oh, there's a car that didn't start didn't get away and got a big hit from behind.
Oh, and there's already a big crash on the front straight. Back in the mid-pack, didn't see who that was, but looks like Brett Hender and maybe Paul Gorrell involved.
Yeah, we'll have to check the replays on that. There was a car at the front, did not get away properly, and we got cars into the wall hard. Jay Kennedy, I can't keep up with all the guys in there, Leo. Bones Filan's in the wall hard at turn 2 as well.
Yeah, and whilst that's happening, we've got a 4-car fight at the front. They're heading down into the bus stop. Very tight piece of road there, and they go side by side, it looks like. And I think that, geez, the field spreads through. They've really sorted themselves out there. You're going to find it. The lead is Richard Hunter. He had a blinder of a start, got past Tim Foltz, but he's going to have to defend into the next corner. Hunter came from 3rd on the grid. Tim Foltz looks to the inside at the second to last turn. And he's got to take the lead back.
Yeah, good driving there by Tim. He didn't let it get away too quickly, but he's going to have to defend that position going up that long back straight on this lap.
Going to be Matt Morris as well, who actually slides past. So the first lap led by Tim Foltz. Second place, Matt Morris, Sam Compton and Richard Hunter are fighting hard. Side by side into turn 1 they go. You don't want to be too wide up through the S's. Out there, boys, but we got one of the Fincars having a look in there.
Yeah, that's Marty Atkins.
Yeah, he's also under pressure from Heath Brennan. So as we've seen already, Watkins Glen makes for great racing because everyone just gets caught and kept in nice and tight together on the track.
drivers on this lap are also dealing with a bit of oil smoke, going to Ireland trying to get back to pit lane with an injured car.
Yeah, unfortunately one of the casualties from the first lap there. There was a couple of cars that were involved. We'll have to go back once the grid sorts itself out and see exactly who was hurt where, because it was pretty hairy in that mid-pack. But I'm looking at the fight at the front and seeing a massive train of cars. You see the first, let's just say the first 10 cars, less than 5 seconds, so 5 seconds separating them, and the top 5 between 1.4. Tim Foltz, who was leading the way, ahead of Matt Morris and Sam Compton. Those are the top 3 drivers. Marty Atkins and Richard Hunter are looking to make it a 5-car fight for the lead. And this is what Watkins Glen is known for. Look at the fight for second. Side by side, Matt Morris and Sam Compton heading into the bus stop chicane. Who's going to break first? Oh, big slide. Morris, he hangs onto it. It was, and Compton goes through, as does Marty Atkins and Richard Hunter.
Yeah, Matt Morris would have been issued a slowdown penalty for that, cutting the track, so he's dropped back a few spots. Simon Madden's gotten past him as well now.
Yeah, it was a good cool head prevail for Sam Compton. He just braked a bit early, let the position sort himself, and now he's in second, chasing down the leader, Tim Foltz. We should also touch on, in this 25-lap race, the drivers are going to have to make a pit stop. They're not going to be able to make the distance on fuel. They're probably going to be about 6 or 7 laps short, so this is going to be another new exciting twist for the Dev Series drivers.
Yeah, it's something they haven't had to deal with. I've heard plenty of different strategies being thrown up in the warm-up, so it's be interesting to see who's going to take the early pit stops. As you can see here at Watkins Glen, it's just so hard to pull a gap. The draft up that back straight is huge. It's good for about 3 or 4 attempts on a lap, so the guys out front are finding it real hard to pull away from the guys behind at the moment.
Speaking of that, side by side for the lead, Sam Compton and Tim Foltz. Compton's been really patient because he was on the outside, backed off a bit early, and Foltz hangs on to the lead. So we're seeing cool head by Sam Compton in the 666 car. But behind that, Richard Hunter and Marty Atkins are making sure that he can't wait too long. Compton's going to be all over the back of Tim Foltz again, heading into the second last turn.
Certainly looks like Compton's got plenty of speed on Foltz at the moment. Foltz keeps running that defensive line up the back straight.
Looks like those first 3 have just got a little bit more pace compared to the others. I know that a little bit of fighting is going to make all the difference. We see Heath Brennan poking his nose out, trying to get past Simon Madden into turn 1. So this top 10, it's really top 9 cars. Top 9 separated by 3.5 seconds at the front. Exactly what Watkins Glen is all about. Here we go for the second lap in a row. Foltz going to the defensive line. Compton trying to get up the inside, and it looks like he's got an overlap.
Oh, it's very hard to go too wide.
And into Compton, that's a collision at the front between the 2 race leaders. And it's going to be Richard Hunter in the Net Virtue car who's going to take the lead. That was heartbreak at the bus stop between Foltz and Compton.
Yeah, they both went in there side by side. Very hard to go too wide through the bus stop. It's with Compton having the inside line, you'd think he would have had position.
Yeah, I think that Foltz went in super deep under brakes to try and hold the high ground. Flipped up on the curb, couldn't hold it, and then into Compton that he went. Foltz is languished down in 20th position. Sam Compton's dropped all the way back into 9th, and he's got an ugly looking car. He's getting monstered by the pack that's around him now.
We should touch on Leo, of course. We've got live stewards for this race. We've already had 2 black flags. Luke Emerton and Timothy Hancock have been black flagged for various indiscretions in these opening laps. And they'll be looking at that incident between Tim Foltz and Compton very hard too, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they rule it out. I'm sort of thinking it may be a racing incident just because of how hard these guys are fighting for the lead. We know how important this series is to everybody. They want to be on the top step of the podium, want to be getting a win, and we've seen just how hard they are prepared to fight. But it's Richard Hunter who's going to take point as we are on lap 5. We've got 20 laps remaining. Looking for on screen there. 20 laps to go. Richard Hunter, Marty Atkins and Simon Madden, the top three as we stand. But that pack has still maintained its size. You've got the top 7 cars, 2.5 seconds.
We've got David Baxter making a move.
He's going around Jason Hardman there. Impressive to get it done around the outside. That Redback car looking pretty racy there. And
we got guys in the pit lane.
Was going to say, just saw that. That's 6 laps into the race, so you've got people that are trying to get pit stops over and done with early. So that way they can continue on and race hard to the finish. I think that pit stops are going to depend on whether you're in traffic, whether you've got, whether you feel like you're being held up or not. Obviously those guys feel like they needed to get some clean air and get back out into it.
Yeah, Simon Madden, our winner from 2 weeks ago at Circuit of Americas, he was able to move up to 3rd from 6th on the grid, and I've been watching him warm up very fast race pace, and he's done that exact thing. Got out of the traffic behind Marty Atkins, and it'll be interesting to see now what kind of laps he can do if he can get the undercut on Marty.
He's currently 30 seconds behind our race leader Marty Atkins, so it'll be very interesting to compare the lap times. So Richard Hunter the leader, and Hunter's lapping in the 1:12s, so as soon as we get a clean lap from Simon Madden, we'll keep you updated as to the difference in pace.
There's our 2 leaders, they stay out. Same with the group behind them, the group of Matt Morris, Matthew Schroeder, Matthew Barron and Heath Brennan, they've all stayed out as well.
Yeah, I imagine if you're in Richard Hunter and Marty Atkins' shoes, you feel like there's not a lot of pressure on you, you'll probably want to stay out and run as many laps as you can whilst you're not under pressure. But tell you what, Marty Atkins is really putting pressure onto Richard Hunter at the moment. Seeing a similar situation we saw between Fultz and Compton running side by side down into the bus stop. What's going to happen this time by? It's Marty Atkins takes the position from Richard Hunter. So the Finn car to the front.
Yeah, terrific move there by Marty. That's exactly how it should be done. The 2 guys know it's a long race, and they're not going to win it on lap 8.
Looking a bit further back into that top pack, Bradford, Barron and Brennan. These guys have been pretty close together on the track, running pretty well identical lap times. I think that it's really been, well, at the start was that top 9, Fultz and Compton dropped out. Those top 7 cars have really been the pace setters in this early going. At the moment there's 16 cars still to pit, like about 10 that have made their pit stop for the night. And on those lap times, Compton's coming around the final turn, and this should set his first flying lap since his pit stop. So Simon Madden, sorry. And it's a 1:12.0. So he's running on times that are equal to the leaders. He's going to have to pull a little bit more than that out if he wants to make some sort of inroads. Marty Atkins did an 11.9. 12.5 for Richard Hunter, although he had to get past on that lap. And Matt Morris in 3rd with a 12.0. What do you think about the different strategies out there at the moment, Brooksy? Do you think that the early run is the go, or?
Yeah, it's such a fast-flowing circuit. I don't think the new tyres are going to yield that much time per lap. Be handy if you're in a pack. You can all sort of drag each other along with the drag, so the draft. So it's a bit of a catch-22 where you pit and get that new rubber. I can see guys charging home real strong, making up plenty of positions, and the ones that pit late in this race.
Yeah, and of course the guys in the box seat, Atkins and Hunter. Although Atkins got past pretty easy, we're seeing that Watkins Glen, exactly as we mentioned earlier on in the race, it doesn't really lend for people running away with it, because still barely 0.3 of a second separating first and second place, Atkins and Hunter. I think at this stage though, it might be worthwhile to just settle things down. There's still 16 laps in the race. Get yourself to your pit stop. Try and make an advantage where you can. But we still see that this group here at the front, these top 6 cars, are staying very, very tight together. Only 2 seconds separating the top 6 on the road.
Yeah, and of course, I think you could go to nearly lap 20 before you have to even look like pitting. So, fresh tyres with not much fuel in it, they're gonna be very quick at the end.
Well, just looking back down through the time, Simon Madden has worked his way up into 14th place, and his last lap was an 11.5, and I think that may have been the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, most definitely. Fastest lap of the race by about 2 tenths at the moment, but he has got some traffic in Scott Party in front.
So interesting to see how Madden plays the traffic. He's past the damaged car there of Scott Party. Madden up into 13th place. He's 29 seconds behind race leader Marty Atkins, so he has made a little bit of ground up from when he came out of the pits. That's from those fresh tyres, and he looks like he's in a bit of clear air as well, which is helping. Coming up to some back markers or guys that haven't made their pit stops yet.
Yeah, is that Matt Yeomans just moves over and lets the guys pass. He's a lap down.
Always appreciate the good sportsmanship that we see in these sort of events.
Of course, guys might not know, Simon Madden, formerly a top split racer in the V8 Supercar. He's had quite an extended period of time off, and exactly what this Premier Series has done is brought some of the older racers back to the series, which is a good thing.
And he's definitely on form at the moment. Someone else who's looking like they're in pretty good form right now, Matt Morris, position number 3. He's getting pretty racy behind the Richard Hunter Net Virtue car. Hunter going to maybe make him go the long way around. No, Hunter just stays high. Morris is going to have the overlap. He's going to try and outbrake him into the bus stop. And easy move. Nicely done there. Matt Morris up into second in car 66.
Yeah, he's looking very pacey, Matt Morris, isn't he?
He's was about 2 tenths quicker than the cars around him that last time by. Of course, that overtaking move has just given Marty Atkins just a tiny bit of breathing room. But I think we'll see that close up pretty quickly if what we've seen so far is anything to go by.
And two guys behind there, Matty Stratford and Michael Barron
there, yep.
Yeah, and Brennan. They're not letting these guys go. They're still well in the hunt for a podium, if not a win in this race.
Absolutely. I think the pit stop's going to be pretty big. Seen people take tyres. Obviously, Madden back there has shown that they do work on pace, but do you reckon anyone might gamble and just take fuel, have a bit of a quicker pit stop? Because I think that with how little fuel you need to put in, you might be able to get that done before the tyres.
Yeah, of course, that may very well be a possibility. If only around 8 to 10 second pit stops the guys are doing, it's really not enough time to change all 4 tyres, so yeah, it's just another one of those strategy plays. You're not going to know until it happens.
It'll be very interesting to see if any of those guys that are there or thereabouts decide to take the gamble. Looking at Richard Hunter, who was in second place, he's dropped back into the clutches of Matthew Stratford a bit there. Stratford goes the outside, nearly grabs a bit of grass. That's a bit hairy, but he stays in line. And so as we come to the halfway point of this second development race of the new V8 Supercar Online Premier season, Marty Atkins leads from Matt Morris, Richard Hunter, Matthew Stratford, Michael Barron in the top 5. We've also got Heath Brennan, Brad Smith, David Baxter, Mark Warmington and Michael Cracknell being the top 10. But this order is a little bit shuffled due to pit stops because we're watching Simon Madden as well. He's now 28 seconds behind race leader Marty Atkins. Madden is definitely clawing that gap just little by little. It'll be very interesting to see where he sits after the pit stop cycle is complete. Yeah,
it's starting to really tantalise the taste buds where Simon Madden's going to pop out. I think he's going to grab the race lead after this, but he's going to be under immense pressure from guys with fresher tyres if they choose to take them.
The thing that's definitely helping Simon Madden as he now moves into the top 10 with other drivers making their pit stops is that he's got clear track in front of him. He's not fighting with the other guys like with other cars like some of the others are. We saw when Matt Morris made that move on Richard Hunter, they dropped nearly a second behind Marty Atkins just with that one overtaking move. Whereas all the ground that Madden's been making up has been done through the cars in front of him heading into the pits.
Out of that top group, Matt Morris has got all the pace at the moment. Oh, in saying that, he's just done a 12.6. Previous lap was an 11.8, which is great lap time for this stage of the race before pitting.
Seen Marty Atkins race before though. We know that he's got a cool head. I think that he's probably running to a game plan when he's out in front. That's exactly where he wants to be. He hasn't hit traffic in a big way yet, so he hasn't been held up. That Tim Bolt's just pulling aside, early race leader and pole sitter. He of course had contact with Sam Compton at the bus stop while fighting for the lead and dropped way down the order. So Atkins still leads. And he and Morris are running away from that front pack a bit, so they've definitely turned the wick up because Hunter, Stratford, and Barron, those cars are all over each other, but they haven't quite kept up with Atkins and Morris.
Yeah, they really come across Tim Foltz at the wrong spot there, Hunter. He got balked a little bit heading through the bus stop, which led Morris to skip out a bit. But Hunter's, well, looking good early in this race. Looks like he's really struggled for car speed.
And on that, just on cue, into the pits he comes. Behind that though, sorry, the fight for third, Barron and Stratford. Stratford was thinking about a move into turn one and just held on there. But this is probably going to be the first test to see where Simon Madden compares, because Hunter was a race leader. Hunter's just pulling into his pit box now as Simon Madden is on the pit straight. So we could see him jump Richard Hunter in the pits, which he has.
Yeah, big advantage. Richard Hunter taking exactly 10 seconds at the pit stop, which suggests no tyres to me. Not only that, Sam Compton, after having all that drama with at the start of the race, he's jumped in front of Richard Hunter as well.
Absolutely. Didn't really catch that one, but Compton would have made his pit stop early, and the same strategy as Simon Madden. That would have been a way to get Compton out of the traffic, because obviously he's got pace on. Looking at the lap times at the moment, Simon Madden, the last lap by, was nearly a second quicker than our race leader, Marty Atkins. Atkins did a 12.6 on the last lap. Simon Madden did an 11.7. So 9/10 of a second the difference. He's now 26 seconds behind the race leader, so I think you could be right, Brooksy. We could be seeing a new leader once this pit stop cycles through. We've got 9 laps remaining.
Yeah, most definitely. Leo is definitely the fastest guy on track at the moment, and even this lap alone, he's pumped out 2 very fast sectors. The first 2 sectors as he rounds the last corner, and this is going to be another impressive lap time for Simon.
If he can pull 2 races from 2 in this development series, that will be an impressive performance given the strength of field that we've got in this race. So the question that we'll have now, with 9 laps remaining, is going to be when those front guys are going to take their pit stop. There's only 5 drivers left. The top 5 are still yet to pit. That's Atkins, Morris, Stratford, Smith and Jones. Simon Madden is the first of the drivers to have pitted.
You'd think they'd have to pit soon because they're not going to leave themselves enough time. As Matt Morris runs wide at the second last corner, they're going to have to pit soon, Leo. They're not going to leave themselves enough time to come back at the leaders.
And Morris is in.
Yeah, Matt Morris dives from pit lane. Other guys stay out for another lap.
Got to be sure that they're looking at split times. They know that Simon Madden's coming. They will have had teams and spotters letting them know of the pace that they're having to contend with, and their lap times just aren't up to scratch compared to what we've seen from guys like Madden and Compton that are on fresher tyres and charging hard through the field.
I do have to have a shout out. Michael Cracknell started dead last on the grid. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. He's a couple of laps down. I thought he was racing up in there in the 3rd spot.
Yeah, Cracknell unfortunately had a black flag just fairly recently, and Morris is going to exit the pits, and Morris is behind guys that have pitted: Madden, Emerton, Compton, Hunter and Brennan. So leaving it late looks like it's hurt a few of these drivers. We saw Hunter and Morris being front runners early on. They've left it until the latter stages of this race to make their pit stop, and it looks like it's hurt them. The one we're going to have to watch though is Marty Atkins, because his lap times are being pretty consistent. They haven't fallen off like some of the others have, but it's still not enough in my opinion.
As Matthew Stratford heads to pit lane. He was running in second spot, 4 seconds behind Marty Atkins. Marty Atkins has stayed out. He's on now on lap 19, and I don't know, can he get to the end without pitting? Leo, has anyone thought of trying to fuel save this entire time?
I don't think that if Marty Atkins was thinking of doing that, he hasn't really shown the pace that you'd expect. Looking at his lap times, he's still running 12.1s, which is very, very quick. But the consistency he's showing is immense, because Marty Atkins, his fastest lap time is a 1 minute 11.9, and his last lap time was a 1 minute 12.1. So that is remarkably consistent from our race leader. You'd think if he was going to go into fuel saving mode, he would have stepped it back a couple of notches. See Brad Smith in second position, he's running 12.8, so about 7/10 slower. But gee, I don't know, I don't think he can save 6 laps running in the 12s.
No, I don't think so either, Leo, but he's stayed out for another one. He hasn't headed the pit lane yet. I'm guessing Simon Madden will be starting to wonder, is he really fuel saving?
Well, a bit of information that I was told before the start of the race was that it was about 6 laps, 5 to 6 laps that they'd have to take on fuel. And we are now with 6 laps remaining, so you've got to say that Marty Atkins on that info, he's got to be in this lap or the next. Only 2 drivers left in the race to have pitted. That's race leader Marty Atkins, who has a 20.2 second lead over Craig Jones. Third place is Simon Madden, who is the first of the drivers to have pitted. And he's still quicker than Marty Atkins. Still the quickest man on track, actually.
Yeah, he's got very good race pace, Simon Madden. He's definitely my tip to win this. I can't see Marty Atkins getting to the end. I'm guessing, I reckon we'll see him in this lap, if not the next.
And he rounds the final turn, and he is taking the tight line into pit lane. So race leader Marty Atkins in the number 72 Fincar Falcon heads into the pits from the race lead. He had about 28 seconds between himself and Simon Madden. Very interesting to see how he goes in the pits here. We're going to watch Madden as well. Madden is 2 turns from the start-finish line. Atkins is stationary in the pits. Madden's going to round the final turn. Atkins is still sitting there.
Yeah, another 10-second pit stop, and that's handed Madden the lead of this race, one corrected order.
There we have it, 5 laps remaining, and Simon Madden back to the lead of the development series. He hasn't led today, he led all of the last race, and that puts him in the number 29, Find the Dealer Falcon, back at the front. And he's got a 3.5 second lead over Marty Atkins. Sam Compton as well, we should mention, has made his way back onto the podium. If he can finish there, that will be an immense drive from Sam Compton, given the hardship had earlier.
Yeah, it's been a terrific drive, Sam Compton, to get back up into the top 3. Oh, it's just behind him, Heath Brennan. He's gone around at the bus stop. He was pressuring Richard Hunter.
Yeah, the bus stop is definitely action central at the moment. Similar sort of situation, running too wide into the bus stop, although he did it all himself. Hunter wasn't collected, fortunately enough. Brennan regathers it and on his way.
That's going to drop Brennan down to around 11th spot, behind Brad Smith.
So Simon Madden clicks off his first official lap led of this race, and with 4 laps to go, he's looking pretty good for a victory at the moment. Marty Atkins is going to come round final turn. It will be very interesting to see the lap times that he can put up once he gets a complete flyer in, but at the moment there's 4 seconds separating him, so he's got to be a second a lap quicker to have any chance of victory. And from what we've seen, I don't think that's going to happen, but I tell you, he might be involved in a fight pretty shortly, but with Sam Compton, because Compton in position number 3 is only 6/10 back from Marty Atkins.
Yeah, talk about consistency. Sam Compton's lap times are unbelievably consistent, and they're just that 10th or 2 quicker than what Marty Atkins was doing before the pit stop, so I think Sam Compton will be right on his tail real soon. Definitely be a fight.
Yeah, closed up heading into the second to last turn. It's an ugly looking car that Compton's driving with all that collision damage, but it's still fast. Gap at the line's going to be half a second between second and third position in the race. The lap times, Madden is the fastest out of the top three. He's just in a league of his own. 12.1 for race leader. 12.5 for Marty Atkins, and Compton's reeling him in 0.3 a second a lap. He'll be on him within the next lap or two. Now, I just want to highlight Heath Brennan, who had that spin earlier. He's back down in 10th position at the moment, and he is hustling David Baxter. All over the back of that Redback Falcon, heading down into the bus stop. He's going to peek the nose in. Got to come from a long way back to get it done there.
Oh!
He may have put that inside wall there. He's got big damage on the right front. I think that Brennan might be in trouble with that one.
I don't know how he kept that on track. He was extremely loose. He was sideways again through the bus stop. It's let Baxter open up around a second gap to him.
Yeah, and Baxter will be counting his blessings that he wasn't taken out in that one. But back up the front though, Compton and Atkins just negotiating some lap traffic. There's 2 laps remaining in the race. Simon Madden is your race leader. He's 4.5 seconds clear of this fight.
2 laps to go.
And I think Compton, he's going to have a dive. He's going to have to take a shot because he'll be a bit frustrated with where his race has gone. He was probably in contention for a race win earlier. He's going to want that second position, I'm sure of it. Oh, Atkins belts those curves hard. These guys are giving it everything they've got in the last 2 laps. And it's exactly what you'd expect from these drivers.
Yeah, both racing very well. Marty Atkins, one of the coolest customers you'll ever find behind a steering wheel. He won't be phased at all. He's doing all the right things at the moment, placing the car well.
The other thing we should mention about Marty Atkins, although Simon Madden has had the pace, Atkins came from 9th position on the grid, so that is an impressive drive for him to have led so much of the race that he did and to still be holding on to 2nd place, so he clearly had pace in the vehicle. And we start the last lap, so it's Simon Madden who's got the race lead, but we're still going to watch this battle here for second because Compton has a dive into turn 1. He's locked the rears and he's going to loop it.
He's around.
Compton's done it all on his own. Oh, he's been hit by the Net Virtue car. That's car 55, Richard Hunter. Hunter is out. Hunter's not going to make the finish. Oh, I hope no one else gets in there. Careful, guys. There's a big crash at turn 1 and 55 Net Virtue is out.
The second time tonight. The second time tonight, Leo, we've seen podium places go begging.
Unbelievable stuff. And that's going to put Michael Barron up onto the podium spot. But of course, star of the show tonight is going to be Simon Madden in that number 29 Find the Dealer Falcon. For the second week in a row, he's going to take victory in the V8 Supercar Online Premier Series development race. Just got 2 turns left to go for Simon Madden. Fantastic drive for him, made the early pit stop strategy work, and he is going to take the second checkered flag of the season. He's going to be very happy with that one. That's round number 2 and race win number 2 to Simon Madden.
Fantastic drive by Simon Madden as Marty Atkins crosses the line in 2nd place. And Michael Barron picked up a podium with that late accident.
Barron and Atkins, I reckon, are going to be stoked because I mentioned Marty Atkins came from 9th on the grid. It was 14th in qualifying for Michael Barron. He's going to be over the moon with that one. So podium places, Simon Madden, Marty Atkins and Michael Barron. Sam Compton managed to hold on for 4th somehow, despite that incident at turn 1 going for 2nd place. He also had Matthew Stratford, Brad Smith, sorry, mistake, wrong screen. Compton was 7th. David Baxter in 8th, Heath Brennan 9th, and Craig Jones came home in position number 10.
Yeah, back in the pack a little bit. Mark Warmington in 11th, Andrew Wallace, Jason Hardman, Richard Hunter fell all the way down to 14th, which is a real shame for him. James Scanlon in 15th, Scott Stevens, Luke Emerton, and Will Dodd from the back of the grid in 18th, Timothy Hancock, and Tim Foltz in 20th spot from pole position.
So Will Dodd would be happy because he was in as a reserve after another driver dropped out. Scott Party brought it home in 21st. Michael Cracknell, Matt Yervins, Brett Hender, Shane Best, Bruce DiCarlo, Nathan Britton, and Trent Thomas all had trouble at various stages. Simon Black, Andrew Gaines, Paul Gorrell, Nathan Leskin, Jay Kennedy, and Graham Filand, unfortunately all coming to grief early in the race. But Simon Madden, second race in a row. That's back-to-back for Simon Madden. And congratulations to him and the rest of the podium finishers. What a way to start the night, hey?
Yeah, plenty of action in that one. I can't believe the amount of podium positions went begging through that one. But if that's a preview of what we're going to see in the main race, bring it on. Of course, 2 pit stops in the main race. It's going to be quite a long race. So really looking forward to what that's going to deliver.
Yeah, that race is going to be just over twice the distance of this one. It's going to be 52 laps of this Watkins Glen configuration. There's going to be a really intense qualifying session to come. We saw that at Circuit of the Americas last time out, that the pole position can change, with just one single lap, and then 52 laps around this place is going to be spectacular.
So I just have to jump over servers to so we can cover all the qualifying for the main race. Which, that's one thing I'm really looking forward to. You're going to see a lot of teams helping each other with that draft. It's going to be very important for qualifying.
If you've seen any sort of racing here at Watkins Glen, you know just how important the slipstream and the draft is, because we've seen it can make a huge difference, especially in these V8 supercars. Guys have all raced here in the official online series with iRacing, and that experience and that teamwork that you need in qualifying, they're all going to be banking on that to set a pole position time in this event. Pole position at Circuit of the Americas went to Madison Down, and of course there'll be a lot of other drivers, 39 other drivers that are going to be hunting for that pole position next to their name. But I think with 30 minutes, it's going to be on for anyone, especially given the nature of this track. So we hope that you enjoyed the Development Series race. We'll also thank Track Racer and Get Dirty MX for allowing us to present these events to you. Make sure you stay tuned, because the good stuff is still to come. It was a great event there. Congratulations again to Simon Madden. Now we can get the top 40 involved, get them hunting for spoils in the big main race. 52 laps is going to be a long way. 2 pit stops is a new thing for our drivers. They haven't raced an event this long before.
Yeah,
a lot of variables, a lot of new territory, and a lot of new things to experience for them all.
One of the things we can do with this Premier Series, I think they're reducing the fuel tank, so they have to pit twice. We can do a lot of things to the drivers to upset the apple cart, so to speak. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to do the early ones like we just seen, or who's going to run it late, run it empty.
Well, you can probably bet that the drivers will have had spotters or teams, or someone will have been keeping tabs with what happened through that Development Series race. They'll be reporting back just how much of a difference Clear Track can make. And I almost wonder if you'll see a couple of team cars, maybe just 2 or 3 guys pit on the same lap and just work together with the draft, not be fighting each other. Just catch a draft and see how much ground they can make on drivers that are fighting for position, because I think there'll be a big speed difference to be made up from teamwork as opposed to fighting.
Yeah, most definitely. I just got into the server now, Leo, and it seems there's some very fast lap times in here. And we've got the usual crowd up around the top, but James McKnight up in 5th spot. Very good for him at the moment. Of course, this is only warm-up, with qualifying still yet to come.
Yes, this will give us an opportunity to run through the drivers that qualified for this top 40, the top split in the online Premier Series. The provisional pole sitter was Richard Hampstead.